Hello, everybody. Let's start the meeting. I want to welcome you all, every one of you, to the second LPNA meeting of the year 2019. We're having them every quarter now, and the next one will be in July timeframe. So, thank you for coming. Appreciate every one of you here to be here. I'd like to acknowledge the LPNA board, the Los Sales Association board. It's Alan who's videoing. He's a member of ours. Karen Lassen, sitting right here, Vice President. Barbara Knapp is President. Amy is Secretary. And Stuart Cohen, sitting over here, is also a member of ours. Mainly in our parks and a few other things. And thanks a lot, guests, for coming. The police department. Vanessa, thank you. District Office, and Gary and Joseph. Thanks a lot. Can we go around real quick? How many people live in the Los Paseos neighborhood? Okay, thank you. And how many are live in that are not presenters are outside of the Los Paseos neighborhood? Thank you for coming, people outside. John Hessler is here tonight. He's helped us out in a few things. So the first thing on the agenda here is to approve the minutes from the February meeting. I sent it out a day or so ago. The people that were here, if there's anybody that wants to make an adjustment to it, please let me know at this time. If I don't hear anything, then we'll take a motion to approve the minutes, and then they'll appear on the website.
I move to approve.
And anybody disapprove? Anybody have anything else to say? No. All right, the minutes are approved. Thank you very much. We'll have these minutes come out too. Amy's over there making the minutes right now. So, as you can see in the agenda here, we're going to talk a little bit about the events that we're having in 2019. Herb just talked real briefly about the barbecue that we're going to have in the park.
You want me to do it now?
Yes.
Okay. So on June 6th, we will be having our first barbecue. We try to get the neighborhood going and coming out. Also, we have Brian the Bubble Guy. I don't know if you remember him. He's going to be training some people on how to make big bubbles. And I know you all want to do that because it's an art. Yeah. So yeah, we'll be starting 6 o'clock. Hamburgers, hot dogs, whatever we can find. And come on out for a few hours. You're all welcome.
And we've invited some of the park maintenance guys, the gardeners, to take care of our park.
Yeah, yeah, and they'll be out too.
They'll be out there.
And then Yellow 5 should be out too. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Herb. Thanks for suggesting that's a good idea. We're going to meet routinely in the park just to talk with people and see what people are interested in talking about in future meetings and so forth. So coming up in latter part of the summer is National Night Out. Last year, you might remember, we had about close to 500 people show up. We sold 500 hot dogs, plus a whole bunch of
we gave away.
We had tickets for them.
Yeah. So we're doing something similar. We've already got the band committed to show up again. It's a great band. The harmonica guy may or may not show up, but he said I could do without a harmonica. So we'll see what happens there. So it's going to be another fun time. So you're all invited to attend that too. So we have a couple other events happening during the year. A new art box over by Martin Murphy School, and maybe Barbara can talk about that a little bit.
I'm not only the treasurer recruiting for donations, I'm also recruiting for volunteers to help make our events work. So we have room. We have a small committee of people who are helping to approve the design for the art box. If anybody else is interested in being included in that, just let me know. I'll get your email address and you can have a chance to view. I've decided against putting it up on Nextdoor because we know what will happen. So we also need a fair number, for our big event of the year, National Night Out, we need a fair number of volunteers. It takes a lot of hands to make that work. We need people helping hand out the hot dogs. We need, one of the really important things is we need monitors for the jumpy houses. And we have 2 jumpy houses. So for each, I really would like to have people on only half-hour shifts for that. So we need quite a few people to monitor the jumpy houses. We also can use some judges for the chalk art contest. And a couple of people can also help out on a few other areas at the check-in desk, at the handing out the tickets for the hot dogs and the ice cream, and for the neighborhood watch table, we could use some volunteers. So I have some sign-up sheets over here for anyone who's interested in volunteering for any of that. And I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next, San Jose Police Department, please get up and give a little shout out. Captain Gina Tibaldi. Thank you very much.
So as you said, my name is Gina. I am the Southern Division Captain. A couple of you guys have seen me speak already, so you know my spiel. Basically, I am responsible for the southern 123 square miles of San Jose. It's District Adam, District Tom, District X-Ray, and District Yellow, which you are all in. The Los Paseos area, I pulled crime stats on the area. You all have a relatively very, 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 knock on wood, safe community. I was searching for stuff, you know what I mean? I compared the last 2 months, March 21st to May 21st, to the previous 2 months, January to March 21st. And really, in the last 2 months, you had 2 vandalism incidents and 2 burglary incidents, okay? So, to your community, which is relatively safe, yes, it is very scary even to have those 4 incidents. We understand that. The previous 2 months, you had a brandishing and a burglary. And surprisingly, as the weather's gotten better, you've actually had fewer calls for service. So I don't know what that's about. Usually when it gets warmer, we start seeing calls for service pick up, we start seeing criminal activity pick up. You actually had fewer calls for service. So one of the things I am pushing when I do my community meeting tour that I'm doing the first couple of months is to really push calling 911 and 311. I hear from residents that they are frustrated calling 311 sometimes with the lower level crimes because they're on hold for 20, 30 minutes. The city, we are in the process. We've gone to PISTIS Council to discuss that, and hopefully they will be moving the 311 calls to a call center so our dispatchers can focus on the 911 calls and things will pick up. Until that happens though, I do ask you to be patient. If you have to put your cell phone or phone on speakerphone, put it on speakerphone, set it down, do what you do. Sometimes, you know, when I'm on hold, I put it down and I do the laundry, do the dishes, whatever. Do that, but I still need you to report the crimes. And if you can, go online and report them. If you can use the My San Jose app, do it. Because our department's growing. We're soon allotted an additional 40 officers once July 1st hits, right? So we're gonna need places to put those bodies. And when we are looking for spots to put the officers, I, based on calls for service, can fight for bodies, okay? So that's what we're really pushing. You still have to call, you still have to report. That it is a safe community out there, and we'll do our best to work with you and to respond to your calls for service and some of those lower level calls. I know there is a wait, but please be patient for us. We are out there working and are doing our best. And hopefully my neighborhood beat officers in Los Paseos are driving around and getting to know you. If not, let me know and we'll make sure that they are. Yes, ma'am.
So are the calls for 311 and 911 answered by the same people? They
Yes.
just take the 911 calls first and then?
That's pretty much what happens.
Okay,
Yeah, so,
thank you.
yes, sir.
Gina, I know that it used to be that if you call, you get a tiki mark for crime reporting. But if you do it online, did you guys change that?
So it depends on how I pull the statistics. We have CAD and RMS, so I can pull it one way and get where our officers go and respond and take reports, or I can pull it another way and I can get the online reports as well.
So the one you just did, was it the online one?
I think that what didn't include the online. What I focus on when I look at the stats is I look at Part 1 crimes. These are the crimes that are the burglaries, the stabbings, the shootings, the armed robberies. What else do I look at? I look at some of the major crimes, and that's what I focus on. So I usually focus on the Part 1s, because those are really telling. The broken windows theory, some of the lesser crimes, I pulled up the vandalisms, I pulled up the brandishings, some of the misdemeanors, but yeah.
So like crime mapping, I think there's two other mics here, he knows, those don't pull the online one. So it makes it look like you're good, even though there might have been 100 people going online and saying, you know, my house got robbed or my car got burglarized, whatever.
So I haven't been on crime reports. I've been on crimereports.com and crimemapping.com,
Yeah.
but I haven't pulled up my system and simultaneously been on those systems to compare, so I couldn't tell you which
I've been
system
told
reports
that.
what.
You know,
Yeah.
from officers.
I would have
wondered
to
if
pull
it
up all
changed.
3 systems simultaneously to compare to be able to answer that question for you.
Mike, can you offer any information on that? I know you're pretty involved.
Not really.
Yes, sir.
Priorities, when you call, you know, Yellow District has how many officers on each shift?
It depends on the shift, time of day, so it could be anywhere from our swing shift team now has up to 7, so
Okay,
that's
good.
3 to 1 a.m. So it depends on the shift, it depends on the days of the week. We tend to be heavy on the weekends, and we tend to be heavy in swing shift hours because statistically that's when most of the calls are occurring.
So like say we're low here, the rest of Yellow could be, you know, our Snell and down by the, you know, yeah. So those officers get pulled priority wise, correct? Can you explain how they're doing so they understand?
So what happens is when there's a priority 1 call, we have a dispatch system that actually dispatches the closest unit citywide. So it doesn't matter what district you're in. If if officers from District Lincoln or X-Ray are having lunch in Yellow one day and there's a call that comes out, they're the ones that get dispatched because their GPS on their vehicle is closest. So that's our priority system with priority 1s. We're actually moving to that system. I don't know if we've officially gone to that, but for priority 2s as well. So it'll be the closest unit citywide. Now with 3s or 4s, that's when District Yellow will be responding, and if X-ray's slow one day, my X and Yellow sergeants work together. So if X is slow, they pull from Yellow. If Yellow's slow, they pull from X-ray. They kind of work it as one big team a lot of the times. So we do our best to, allot the resources. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Has the union allowed the 1-year term when you pick like Yellow 4 or Yellow District? It used to be 6 months, but the union was stopping the people in charge.
So what happened with that is, with our last contract negotiations, we moved to the 1-year shift change. And we've currently we did it in shifts in, 25% initially, then 50%. We're now at 100% year long. So the officers that work your beat are gonna be there until next March. So ideally, they will be better equipped to deal with certain problem areas, problem residents, they ideally will know their community better.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
If someone wants to meet the beat officers, how do we do that? Do we go hang out near the
Okay, well, you can send me an email and I can have them personally come and introduce themselves to you. That's not a problem. Or at the next meeting, if you want, I can invite in the officer who's overseeing the area, barring the fact that if there's a major event, I would have to send them. But we could always bring in the beat officer. I can ask the sergeant to come in. I can ask the lieutenant. We can ask whoever you guys want me to come in, guys and gals, pardon me, to come in.
Are we at the point where we could get enough officers to walk the mall areas? We have constantly problems. We had one of our barbers get really messed up right over here, and can they just stop, grab a coffee, walk that for a few minutes? Is there any?
Okay, so you're talking not necessarily malls, but like shopping centers.
Yeah, shopping
I thought you were
centers.
talking about sending the whole
No,
yellow
they
team to
can't do that. They got security there, they can call you.
Yeah.
It's just out here, we have a lot of homeless and a lot of encounters where even at our park, we're having encounters. I just send some people down there to get cleaned up. So, but yeah, just walking once in a while, you get out of their car, walk, grab a coffee, just walk and see what's happening in the neighborhood, strip malls of sorts.
So ideally, my men and women, when they're not responding to calls for service, they should be engaging in proactive police work, whether it's car stops, pet stops, foot patrol, they should be getting out and meeting the community, they should be going to the areas where there's high crime. It's kind of like cops on a dot. That's what I do. I come in on my Sunday, I look at the map, I see where the crimes are occurring. If I'm having a particular issue in a particular area, that's where I'm telling them proactive police work needs to go here. If you guys have a particular location, email me. I can put it into their rotation, let them know, hey, can you please be proactive here? I can tell the beat officer, the beat sergeant, or the district sergeant. So that's one of those things. I rely heavily on crime statistics, but that doesn't tell the whole picture. That's the importance of coming together and coming to these meetings so you can tell me the locations that are important to you. So because your perception is your reality. So I need your perception, your reality, and my crime stats, and I need to combine them and to effectively police the community.
Okay.
So, yes, ma'am.
I'm subscribing to crimemapping.com, and I saw quite a few incidents of cars being stolen or the people walking at night and trying to open the door to see the car is open and stealing the stuff from the inside of the car.
Mhm.
This is not a priority one, right?
If someone's currently in the car when you're calling, it is a priority one.
Yeah, that's.
If they're not in the car, and it happened, depends on how long ago it happened. Was it 2 minutes ago? Was it 15 minutes ago? Based upon that time frame, that will determine whether it's a 2, 3, or 4. One of the things that we're seeing out in Almaden is every night they're out there and they're opening the car doors. They don't want to break the windows because then that draws attention to them, right? So they're going and looking for unlocked cars. So I tell them they need to lock their cars. They don't always necessarily listen to me. And so we're having a problem. They're going back because it's a target-rich environment. So if you can, on your community page or whatever, stress to the residents to lock their car doors and lock their house doors. It seems very simple. Redwood City, it seems very simple, but I mean, it's huge. I went through the statistics for all the burglaries in the division in April, and same with March. 20% to 25% of my home burglaries in our division are unlocked houses or garages. Okay, and then we're having car thefts. It's not a burglary if the car's unlocked. They're going in there and they're taking stuff. And this isn't something that's new to San Jose. It's not something new to the Bay Area. We basically have, and I went to a burglary prevention meeting last week put on by the DA Crime Prevention Unit. And what they're doing is they're coming down from San Francisco to Oakland. They're doing kind of like a sweep around the bay, and they go in, they fence it in Oakland or San Francisco. They just do a sweep. And they go from, and they're hitting the areas, and they're just, whether it's burglaries or thefts from vehicles, they're going and then they're selling the stuff. They're selling the laptops, they're shipping them off across seas, overseas, and they're making good money. I mean, we took with Ghost Town, I'm sure you saw it in the news, we took down one of the main fencers, and as a result, we saw a decrease, but it's starting to pick up. We have different gangs that are coming down from, they're saying now it's San Francisco. It was Oakland, now the big spot is San Francisco. And this is a wealthy environment. People have electronics, and there's also a kind of a sense of security in San Jose, so people forget to lock their doors and forget to lock their cars. Yes, sir.
Captain, do you find that some of these people says, I thought I locked my car, but these guys have gadgets that unlock them. I have it on video where they're doing their thing, and either, there's like 3 different kinds. Are you still finding those gadgets out there, or have you heard of that?
I haven't really been seeing that. A lot of it is actually them just leaving it unlocked.
Oh, okay.
So I know with like the Teslas, there's like a window that you can easily
The little
open. I mean, they're always finding something. They're always going to find some way to steal.
Well, they usually have gadgets. We have them on video going around, and they're hitting, door to door.
Yeah, make it as hard as you can and lock the stuff up. And the video is always great. I put out a track flyer. We had it put out today of some burglars out in Almaden. So that sends it to all the local agencies. They'll be able to see pictures that the community members sent me that I put out on this flyer. So we're trying.
Thank you.
More questions. I also see the videos on the Nextdoor from Ring Pro, the people stealing the mail. And in my opinion, I thought it was a federal offense, stealing the mail. So
the post office investigates that. That's going to be something that the postal inspectors investigate.
do we report this to you?
You can report it and report it online, and then they'll probably give you the number to direct it, but you can get it into our system and report it online.
Okay.
Sorry, I've taken up a lot of your time.
That's really good.
Okay.
Thank you.
It was brought up about crime reports, and you said that you haven't looked at that in much detail and compared. Can you do that for the next meeting?
I can look at them. We have crimereports.com, crimemapping.com, and then there's our systems, RMS and CAD.
Right.
So we can look at
Compare
those and
those two systems and see what.
yeah, to kind of see if you're getting the actual incidents that we're responding to,
Yeah.
or you're getting the calls for service, and if you're
Yeah.
getting the online reporting.
That's good.
That'd be an interesting
Yeah.
little experiment.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, before she leaves, Issa, would like to give an update on the comms project, the camera project?
I'm just wondering, I had a meeting a couple weeks ago, who was not there? Okay, so bottom line is, we're starting testing, we're working on getting a contract with the homeowner. Once that is okayed by the city, then we're gonna go ahead and start installing, 2 to 10 homes for testing, and in July, end of July, we'll be done testing. We'll pick out a manufacturer, we'll announce who the manufacturer is, and then we're looking for vendors to do installs. I have meetings scheduled all next week, and we're going forward. It is gonna happen, so appreciate your support.
Who's gonna monitor the video? Will it be the homeowners?
Just a homeowner, standalone. You got a recording device, up to 4 cameras. You're the only one. If it's in your home, you're the only one. But you're gonna sign an agreement with Safer San Jose, that's our nonprofit, that says you will work with law enforcement, you won't use the video illegally. It's a 3-page contract. I hope it doesn't scare people, but I told the lawyer to use some basic words because we all freak out when it's some heavy-duty word and we don't know what it means.
Have you at all, or consultant, figured out where the camera is going to go or the house is going to go?
We haven't found, whoever's gonna be the vendor to install them is gonna give us rules. And out of all the interviews I've done, they've said things like, homes that already have cables could be a good potential because labor's costly, and it's gone up in 4 years since when I started this. Intersections, the enthusiasm of the customer, because they don't want to walk in a house and hear someone, complaining for 4 hours about where they don't want this or that. So all that's going to take, time is money, and we're going to look to save money because, Safer San Jose is doing their due diligence to get as many camera systems in, up to 300. Yeah.
So, I thought you guys already had the camera picked out.
We did 2.5 years ago.
So technology has changed so much.
Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, after that meeting we had a couple weeks ago, I got phone calls you wouldn't believe it. People really want, and they're doing big discounts. So
Wow.
that's good for all of us.
Thank you, Issa. Appreciate
All right.
the update.
Thank you.